Day 7, we're talking about claims administration. The two topics here are pretty much, third-party claims administration, or also evaluating which insurance companies that you want to work with based off of their track record and their capabilities of taking care of your claims. Just to qualify a little bit, or to explain a little bit, for anyone who's unfamiliar, third-party claims administrators are actually outside professionals that you can bring in to work with your organization to handle your claims. So typically, if you have standard insurance, standard market insurance, or fixed cost insurance, you're not really going to be bringing in an outside entity. So you're going to be evaluating the claims team that the insurance company has on board. If you're a larger employer or organization, and you have one of the more exotic insurance programs, or you're a self-insured entity, you have the ability to bring in a professional to handle your claims. So this is going to talk all about kind of best practices on what to look for, how to hire a good third-party administrator, or how to evaluate a claims team for a fixed insurance policy that you're purchasing for you or your business. So the first big issue is you have to identify what your needs are, right? So you have to know what you're looking for in claims professionals and your claims handling. So you have to evaluate, your personal needs, and are there specific needs, or are they just basically general best practices that you need those claims professionals to be following? Keep in mind the types of claims that you might encounter, because third-party administrators or claims professionals should have an expertise in dealing with those claims. If you have very intricate claims that might result from your operations or your daily ongoing, those third-party administrators and claims professionals should be able to handle those types of claims and have an expertise level or a familiarity with them. You also have to think about whether or not you're valuing high turnover or a high close rate with your claims, or if you really want those claims professionals to drill down on those claims and really kind of get into them, because you could have some claims that might normally just get paid and taken care of, that could be fought or could be handled a lot more proactively to resolve them for lower cost or quicker. The other thing you have to ask yourself is, how involved in the claims process do you want to be, and which processes you want to handle yourself in-house and what you want to hand off to someone else. So if you're a larger organization that wants to do a lot of this stuff in-house, you have to communicate ahead of time to whoever is handling your claims what you're going to do and where they're going to attach to the process. If you're laissez-faire, you just want to be hands-off with it, you report it and let them run with it, that's fine. Let them know ahead of time, and they'll be fine with it. But if you want to be involved, if you have in-house legal counsel that you want to at least give the authority to make initial responses and send letters as a result of receiving notification of a claim or something like that, let them know ahead of time so that you're not stepping on each other's toes during the claims process. Or a potentially catastrophic issue is if you're duplicating efforts and those efforts aren't consistent, you can end up screwing things up really badly. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is the communication chain, right? So how are you going to communicate with claims professionals, and who on your team internally has to know about things and be kept up to speed? Good claims management requires being proactive, and whether you're handing off that claim immediately to a claims professional or you're going to handle some of it in-house, you have to make sure that everyone's on board. And that communication chain has to be, if it's in writing, that's best, and it has to be stuck to consistently. If everyone's on board and everyone's informed, those claims can be taken care of well. But if people are left in the dark, or if there's details that are missed, you're going to end up having a big issue with certain claims. Okay, the next big topic we're going to talk about is price versus value. And this is a huge deal. I do a lot of talking about this in terms of purchasing insurance and creating an insurance and risk management program. But the same holds true here, right? It's how much you pay is not ultimately the price that something costs you, okay? So a good claims professional or a good insurance policy, or anything that you purchase in your daily life or in your business operations or your organizational operations, it's going to have a price tag associated with it on the front end, but is that ultimately what it ends up costing? And sometimes you can end up shooting yourself in the foot if you go with the lowest cost on the front end, because specifically with claims, If they're not handled properly, claims costs can balloon and become a huge problem. And so that couple $1,000s that you saved on the cost of having a low cost claims team handling things, or a low cost insurance policy, could actually end up costing you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars if those claims aren't handled properly, and if that claims team doesn't have good experience of having good outcomes. And that's the other thing I'll say is always pay attention to outcomes and the track record of outcomes. If a third-party administrator or another claims professional comes to you and says they want to work with you, always ask them about outcomes. And if they have specific examples, that's even better, because if they can give you examples of claims that have happened that they've dealt with for entities that are similar to yours, or organizations that are similar to yours, and they were able to reach really good outcomes, that's a really good indicator that they're going to be able to do the same thing for you. And again, it's going to make that overall value that you get from that professional work all the more valuable, because they're going to be able to show you a cost savings or limiting the costs associated with the claims, versus someone who just comes to you and says, oh yeah, we can do a good job, and oh, by the way, we'll do it for really cheap. And they call it cheap for a reason. So something you always have to keep in mind when you're evaluating claims professionals is, what services do they offer? Are they simply cataloging the claims and writing checks, or are they bringing some other value to the table? And so a lot of the services that they can build in, they're varied. Okay, so some of them offer, so for instance in the workers' comp arena, a claims professional or a TPA could offer telephonic case management, meaning that your workers or your employees can by phone talk to a nurse case manager or someone who's handling the claim and readily get feedback, get advice, and that can help guide that claim process a lot better than if the person is constantly waiting for an email, or just kept in the dark in general and not getting one-on-one consultation. The other thing that you have to ask yourself is whether or not they use a claims management system, and whether that claims management system is available for you to be able to use or look in on. So the claims management system is basically a software package that they're going to use to track claims, make payments, and update you if you have access to it. And if they have a really good claims management system, that's going to go a long way to helping them dispose of and take care of claims efficiently, and it's also going to help that communication piece a lot. The other thing you have to ask them about is medical bill repricing or reviews. How are they repricing medical bills, or just bills in general? What kind of standards are they using? And the other consideration is, what does that add to the overall cost of bringing them on board? Is it done gratis, or are they going to end up charging you some level of, or some percentage of the savings that they end up negotiating? The other piece of this is whether or not they have people going through and auditing those medical bills and the medical bill repricing process, because bad medical bill repricing processes can go on and on and on and cost you lots of money if someone who is unaffiliated doesn't look in on it and make sure that it's being done well and to the best that it can possibly be done. Another thing to always look at is really specific to the workers' comp arena, or see, this also applies in the health insurance world. The claims professionals, do they use a prescription or an RX management system, an oversight system that actually helps identify issues before they get going? A big issue right now in the current world is opioid abuse and people getting hooked on pharmaceuticals that maybe they didn't need to take in the first place, or the doctor wasn't paying attention and overprescribed, and now they have a substance abuse issue in addition to whatever they were originally treating for. You should also ask about their legal claims oversight process. Do they have a team that's overseeing the legal work that's being done on these claims? And again, do they have an auditing practice to make sure that these processes are being adhered to, and that they're getting the most out of them, and that they don't have missteps along the way that are costing you valuable dollars in relation to how these claims are disposed of and taken care of in the end. All right, so once you jump off the cliff and hire yourself a claims professional, a TPA, or sign on with an insurance company because you like what their claims people can do for you, how do you evaluate their effectiveness after you've already brought them on board? First of which is the communication working out? Is it living up to what you originally discussed it was going to look like before you hired them? And is it actually being executed properly? And is it adding to the positive disposition of those claims that you have? The other thing that you have to look at is whether or not they're addressing issues that you bring up to them. So if there are problems, are they addressing them quickly and actually fixing it? Or are they just kind of letting the same old problems linger that are continuing to damage how your claims are being taken care of? And so if they're really responsive and they're taking care of the issues that you bring up to be resolved, then they're probably doing a really good job on all the other aspects of taking care of your claims as well. Do you feel that claims have been handled proactively, or are they being reactive? Are there a lot of situations where something comes up within a claim and all of a sudden it looks like they didn't know it was happening, or they should have known it was happening, and they got communications that told them that it was coming up, and somewhere it got lost or misplaced or just not addressed in a timely manner? Really good claims professionals are also going to do something more than just the mechanics of the job. They're going to proactively look at these claims, and they might even be able to be a little bit of a risk management professional for you, because they can identify trends real time because they're seeing the claims as they happen. And so they can key you into something that's happening that, it might take you a couple of months before your next round of claims review happens. They can tell you immediately if you end up getting 2 or 3 or 4 of the same type of claim within a really short period of time. And finally, the legal oversight process. Is it working? Is there good communication coming from the legal team? Do you feel like the outcomes of litigated claims are favorable and positive and being handled proactively? And this can be a big deal because someone could be really good at, like I said, monitoring and cataloging claims. But if certain claims end up finding their way into a court, those claims are typically going to be very expensive. And every area where the legal oversight or that legal team can save you money in that arena, it's going to pay even more dividends than some of the smaller claims that even if it costs you $5 extra, it's not really killing you. But in a legal claim situation, a small oversight could end up costing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right, and the last thing I'm going to say is that there's a little bit of a crossover with another topic that we're going to be handling. It has to do with modified duty and return to work, and that applies in the workers' comp arena. And so definitely check out that video or that blog article as well. And it specifically has to do with getting workers back to work as quickly and efficiently as possible, but at the same time making sure that they're healthy and back to 100% or as close to 100% as they possibly can get to. Day 7, talking about claims professionals, how to hire, and what you're looking at after you bring them on board, whether or not they're doing their job. So I hope you gleaned some good information from this. Please like the video, subscribe, share it, comment. We'll get back to you, and we'll see you on day 8.